On Halloween, the boundary between worlds collapses. For at least 2,000 years, Celtic people have marked this moment. Not the calendar date, the actual midpoint between autumn equinox and winter solstice, which for 2025 is technically the 8th of November. By this point, the harvest is finished, livestock has been moved from its summer pastures, and animals had been slaughtered for the winter. This is the point when the light half of the year dies. The Celts believed this transition opens portals. The Sheha, burial mounds, became doorways, and through those doorways, the Aos Sí could cross into our world. Aos Sí means people of the mounds. They are supernatural beings, but they're not Disney fairies. In Irish mythology, they are the Tuatha De Danann, the old gods of Ireland. They retreated underground after mortal invaders arrived. Christian monks later rewrote them as fallen angels or fairies. Not evil enough for hell, but not good enough for heaven. During Samhain, people left food and drink outside, offerings to ensure the Aos Sí would not harm people or livestock during winter. To avoid curses by the Aos Sí, people turned their clothes inside out, carried iron, and carved faces into turnips and hung them from trees to ward off any hostile spirits. Ancestor spirits were invited home and a place was set at the table for them. People lit candles in every room. When the veil thinned, the Aos Sí could steal things: butter, crops, luck, and babies. Folklore claimed fairies abducted healthy, beautiful children and left an imposter behind, a changeling. An odd, sickly-looking, weak baby that was unable to speak or cry and was always hungry. The changeling was not your child, it was a fairy imposter. This story served a purpose. Trigger warning for historical child mortality and disability stigma. Stories of changelings served a cultural purpose. Before we had the medical knowledge to understand conditions like autism, epilepsy, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, parents needed an explanation for babies who suddenly stopped thriving. Children who could not walk, did not speak, who had seizures or deformities or developmental differences. Changeling folklore externalized parental guilt. The disabled child was not truly yours, it was a fairy imposter. So its suffering or death was not your fault. It was the work of the Aos Sí. Some folklore said you could force the changeling to reveal itself. Documented cases include drowning children in rivers, hanging them over fires, exposing them to freezing temperatures, or leaving them overnight on a manure pile, all intended to force the fairies to return the real child. Perpetrators of these crimes were rarely convicted because judges accepted the changeling narrative. In 1826, Anne Roach drowned her 4-year-old grandson because he could not walk. She claimed she was putting the fairy out of him, and she was acquitted. Changeling stories encode deep anxieties, fear for vulnerable infants, ways to ritualize protection, and explanations for random misfortune in a world without science. The changeling myth was a way of explaining disability and misfortune through supernatural intervention. Ireland's mother and baby homes represent the institutional realisation of the same impulse: to remove, hide, and dispose of children that were deemed illegitimate. Where folklore blamed fairies, the Irish state and the Catholic Church blamed mothers. Between 1922 and 1998, over 56,000 Irish women and 57,000 Irish children passed through 18 mother and baby homes run by the Irish state and the Catholic Church. Around 9,000 children died, but historian Catherine Corliss has only found death certs for 796 of those, and there's only one burial record. A full excavation of Tuam began in July this year, 2025. Investigators have confirmed that there is human remains in the underground chambers of a disused septic tank. Mother and baby homes will get a separate full video. Changelings were myth, but mother and baby homes were policy. Both systems aim to remove children from the society that were deemed illegitimate or burdensome. Both externalized blame. Fairies in folklore, fallen women in institutions. The nuns at Tuam wouldn't even bring the babies to the cemetery across the road because those children were born out of marriage, and so the nuns saw them as unworthy. Tonight and for the next week, the veil is thin. It is a time we honour the dead. The 796 babies at Tuam, the 9,000 children across Ireland's mother and baby homes, and all of the disabled children killed under the cover of changeling folklore. We remember what happens when society decides that some lives matter less, and we refuse to let those stories disappear. Happy Samhain.